Alright, so today we have a MacBook that needs to be fixed. The USB is not working on this MacBook, and Steve is laughing because he always laughs at everything. So, back to the stream that has crappy lighting, as we always have in this office, for the past 7 years of making video. Now, the issue with this MacBook that we have over here is that this MacBook does not have working USBs. It does turn on, however, it's not recognizing USB. So, just to give you an idea, here is a little battery charger that I have for the batteries, the little rechargeable batteries that I use in my microphone. And watch what happens if I try to plug it into the USB. Anyone superglued a thumbtack to the darts yet? No, but it is tempting, JP. It is tempting. So when I plug this in, as you can see when the machine's off, nothing. And I'm also going to try turning it on. And I've turned it on, and it does appear to say 5 volts, 0 amps. And the second USB is 4 volts, 0 amps, and very loose. Wow. This thing is as loose as Kim Kardashian after meeting Ray J. Jesus. Yeah, these things are just... This is sliding a hot dog down a bowling alley. Wow. Okay. Yeah, so this is 5 volts. This one is 3.1 volt. Now let's see if it has the capability to actually recognize a USB device. So power is faltering on one of them. Now I am going to restart this machine, and I'm going to put it on the desk. Let's restart this computer. And I'm going to put it on the desk in a mode where I can boot into another drive. So when I hold down the Option key, it's going to give me the different options that I can boot into. So check it out. I hold down the Option key, and as I hold down the Option key, eventually it's going to show me the internal drive, but then it will also show me others that I could potentially boot into. Once my assistant gets me the Test OS drive with a USB. This here is one of my test drives, and we've got a little USB to SATA thing going on here, so I can plug that test drive in, as you can see. And we're going to see if it shows up. Now when I use the bottom USB port, if you'll notice that the LEDs on this little thing over here do not pop on. None of the lights are popping on, and it doesn't see anything. And if we plug it into the other USB, pretty much the same thing. So let's try and figure out why it is that this MacBook is not recognizing anything in USB. So we are going to open this MacBook up, yoink, and fix it as fast as we can so that I can spend time on things that actually matter, like Bafang version 2. That's right, folks. We're setting up Bafang version 2 this evening. Be ready for when that motor comes in tomorrow. So, now, if we take a look at the board over here, you may notice something. What do you see there, folks? Besides wobbling camera. Interesting. So, we're going to unplug the battery from this machine and get to work putting this together take the work getting this thing apart and working on what I imagine to be the problem over here on my board. So we're going to get a T6, a magnet. She shit herself when you said the price out loud. Plus tax? I have to pay tax. Oh, you definitely better be voting for a libertarian candidate with that shit. Okay. Plus tax? Plus tax! Ah! Either don't say that or vote libertarian. Shannon, Sarah, how are you doing today? Okay. Okay, let's take a look at this MacBook under the microscope. And also let's take a look at the schematic and the board view for how the USB ports are going to work on this machine. So this is an 820-3330 board. Tax inclusive is greater than plus tax. Incorrect. It is actually against the regulations as per the Department of Consumer Affairs for a license if you have a electronic and home appliance service dealer to have tax included. You need to have tax as a line item on the invoice, or else you get a fine. Other things that will get you a fine if you have a license, the Consumer Affairs electronic and home appliance service dealer license, is having your license number on your receipt, but not on your business card. That's a fine. Or if you have your license number visible in your store, but it's not on your receipt. That's another fine. Guess how I know. Now, MVIT donated $5. Thank you very much. Drip cable out above right side fan. I didn't rip it. I removed it. Chillax. Breathe in, breathe out. It's fine. It's a happy little cable. It's going to be beautiful. Oh, it's going to be beautiful. Chillax. Chillax. All right, so we open up the board view in the schematic for an 820-3330 board, and let's see what we find when we go to the USB port. So our USB ports are going to be J4600 and J4700. These are the USB ports right over here. So let's take a look at how this works. I buy a logic board to learn. What do you think about it? I think that if you bought a logic board to try and learn component level repair, then good? I don't know. I don't really have any thought about it. I hope you do well. Thank you very much. So we are going to take a look at the schematic here. So this is the USB port, and this is the USB port power switch. Now, here's the way this works. So we have the USB data line, USB external, muxed. It goes through a little filter, and that filter then goes to an SMC mux, because here's something interesting. It's actually possible to program the SMC through the USB port. So the USB port can be disabled so that it's not a USB port. Here is plus tax for that customer. Thank you very much, Pedro. I appreciate that. So there is, what was I talking about? You distracted me. Yes, the SMC debug box. It is possible to program the SMC through the USB port. So the USB port can be disabled as a USB port, but it will have a direct line to the SMC that you can see here. So if this is not working properly, even if everything else is good, the USB data is going to be going to the SMC, or even worse, to ground or nowhere if that's not working. Now you also have another USB port over here, J4700, and this USB port is going to have its stuff go directly to a USB controller chip. So let's find that. Go back to schematic board view over here. So that's going to have its USB data line go, let's see, L4700. This little coil is going to have its USB go straight to U2760. U2760 is a port mux, and from there, that's going to go straight to the PCH. So what we're hoping for here, what we're praying for here, is that the issue is either with power delivery, the mux that's going to ascertain whether or not the USB port communicates with the PCH, or whether the USB port ignores USB entirely and communicates with the SMC. Well, we're hoping for one of those. We're not hoping for PCH damage, because then Paul is going to have to Zao a brand new PCH onto this machine, which doesn't exist because this is 7 years old, and hell if you're going to find the new PCH for that. There's new, like eBay new, but that's not new. ESD versus non-ESD WIA screwdrivers. You're caring too much about things. I use ESD safe if I can. If they're not in stock, I get the non-ESD safe. Chillax. All right. No big deal. So, if we look under the microscope, let's take a look at the affected area over here. And let's see what it is that has the most damage. So, this stuff, this is probably going to be up here for Firewire and Ethernet. This looks like it's going to be around the USB area. So let's see what this chip is for over here. Let's take a look at what that is. So we go to schematic and board view. And we get picture-in-picture that HiHi set up. Thank you. Everybody say thank you to HiHi for doing something well. And Paul Daniels' board view software just stopped working out of nowhere, because that's what Paul Daniels' board view software tends to do. So Yeah, it just was showing me everything before, and now it is not. Yay. Ah, here we go, pins. It just fucks with you like that. Wait a second. Taha, your picture-in-picture button actually fucks up Paul Daniels' software. No, seriously. Look at this. Okay, watch what happens when I hit microscope out. Paul Daniels' software is actually fucked up by the Stream Deck. Wow, that's fun. That's interesting. Okay, so here we have what I believe is U4600. U4600 is the USB port power switch. So this is going to be what takes PP5ES3 USB and sends it to the USB port so that the USB port can actually have 5 volts. And it is covered in green garbage. So we are going to clean that up and see if that fixes our problem. I'm going to get out of picture-in-picture and just go back to this view, and let's see if we can get through this without Paul Daniels' software sabotaging the repair. All right, so we can replace that chip. I also want to see what the hell is covered under there. There's an inductor, and that inductor it seems to be for Thunderbolt power, it seems. So the part that's covered is actually Thunderbolt power, not something else. Interesting. Anyway. Let's get USB port power working properly first. Now also, we have a probe point in this board that's entirely blown out over here. I'm not sure if you can see that. I'll point to it. What's up with you? Interesting. Good thing to keep note of. This is kind of disgusting, so I'm removing you. I'm removing you. I'm removing you. And you. I have no idea. Also, I just missed a donation. Shit. Oh. Yeah. Good thing we have hi. I don't know if there's been a verdict in the trial in Norway. There are certain things I'd like to bring up, but I don't feel comfortable discussing them until the trial is over. I don't want to overstep my bounds. Yeah, there's certain things I do want to bring up here. Okay, we're just going to get myself an 820-3330 donor board. And then after that, we'll see what happens with our USBs. It's going to reattach all that stuff and, yeah, happy pappy donor board. I mean, it'll be happy fix board, not a donor board. Freudian slip there. I accidentally called what I'm fixing a donor board. The only donor board we're going to have here is Steve's PC3000 machine after I plug some more USB devices into it. All right, we have a 3330 donor board on the way. Oh boy, a MacBook that is fixed. Should be a mute symbol on the screen. We'll work on that. We have a stream assistant now. So things that so things that used to be low priority, we can actually Very cool, Raider. Maybe you could do this in South Africa. If you see there's a need, you fill the need. It's the way the world works. If there's a need there and you think you can fill it, no need to wait on somebody else. Alright, so it looks like that one USB-C power IC, that one USB power IC is actually not on the donor board that I want. Great. Great. Time to find another donor. Be right back. Okay. I give up. I'm going to just steal it off of a different type of board, and I'm sure it'll be just fine. Who are you sending to TCRS? You're sending bullshit to TCRS, aren't you, Kevin? Did you just send them like a Dell Inspiron 1525?
iMac screen. Or no, iMac board screen.
Oh.
So it is board.
Good to know you're sending TCRS terrible jobs. Live stream Kevin getting hit with a Nerf gun?
No need.
Wait, that's the... Steve already left. You teased them for no...
I have to ask you something. So, get in here. I have to ask you something.
Can you repeat that?
Can you come in here?
Why?
I need work to be done from. Come on, hurry up.
Come on, Kevin. Come in.
It looks a little bit suspicious to walk in right now.
Look. Nobody's gonna shoot you, dog. Okay? Come on.
Come on. Oh, he said this.
Hurry up. Come on, hurry up.
We're all good? We're all good? We're all good. Alright, put the gun down high.
Come on, Kevin. I need to ask you something. Hurry up.
Kevin, here. Pretend you're a member of Antifa. Here you go. Fuck them up. You're Antifa, they're conservatives. Go. They may have more numbers, but you got the... Alright. So back to the board. Where were we? This is all on camera.
So you can't shoot me!
We do have work to be done here.
Remember this?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't kill what's already dead.
What?
This was just
Yeah.
you led me on a wild goose chase.
No, I wanted her to learn how to do CPU MOSFET.
I have hostage.
Let him go. Let him go. Let him go. Let him go.
I'm assuming inventory has been checked. Get this shit out of fuck. Work! Foxconn, CSAT, go! We're confiscating this. This is the principal's office right here. All this stuff here is going into a box. Until you do inventory, answer every fresh desk ticket. Inventory! You have time? Dead? You learned how to replace CPU MOSFET?
Yes.
High five. Bam! You learned something. Now put this in the notes as totally fucked and needs board replacement. Because there's no getting anything out of it from there. Or a CPU replacement. Give it to an L. Yeah, actually, what the hell? Where were we? Yes, back to this.
talk somewhere that's not in the middle of the phone?
Oh yes, yeah. That's his defense.
Oh yeah?
I gave him an Antifa certified defense. You could. You're gonna. He's. Okay. So, I believe that this part is set. Now, let's see what happens. Now I'm going to plug in just enough stuff to see if we have any change in our USB behavior. I don't know, Eduak, I'm not in Norway. I would suggest asking the individuals involved. Yeah, before clicking on the stream, I was praying I would see an L. And nope, just old man Rossman again. There is no God. Okay, fine. We'll get an L on camera for you. We'll get an L. He seems to have an appeal. Live chat does want an L. Oh, yeah. CSAT him, yes. Food? Oh, boy. Yes, sir. Okay, food is here, so this has to work, because if it doesn't, then this person's never getting a working computer, since I want to eat my food. And I am prioritizing my food over customers at this point, because I have this very bad habit where I work on the non-stop queue and fix all the things that I have to fix, arrange all the things I have to arrange, solve all the problems I have to solve, and then I eat at the end of it. And then I gorge myself, and I eat 2 to 3 times as much food as I should because I was hungry that whole time, because I wasn't eating the entire day, since I was valuing, a customer that's bitching having a slightly faster turnaround time, so they'll be slightly less bitchy over my own personal health and well-being. And that is time to end. So we are going to plug this in, see if we get USB on this. And if we do, we do, and if we don't, they get to fucking wait. Just like I do if I deal with any other business that has more than one customer. Alright, so do this. Hold down Option. We're going to plug in some USB devices and see what we get. And as we can see, when I plug in the USB drive, everything shows up here. Now I'm going to try the other USB that was the loose one. And even the loose one is taking it just fine. So what we had to do there is replace the USB power chip. And as well as that, there was a couple of things around it. So first thing we had is the USB port power switch was going to take PP5ES3 and allow it to go to the USB port. Again, the reason that PP5ES3 is going to the USB port is because USB devices will work even when the device is in suspend, which is what an S3 state is. Then we also had a couple of resistors, so we had to replace, let's see, U, but that was for Thunderbolt. We replaced U, which was for USB power, which was an inductor. And that's about that. So USB power chip replaced. Sometimes it's harder than this, and sometimes it is this simple. If you do have one of the newer USB-C MacBooks, those are much more complicated because you have, again, the USB-C port. It's not a USB port. It's a cloaca. It's a multi-purpose orifice. USB-C can be charging. It can be charging the computer. It can be DisplayPort for video out. It could be USB 2, USB 3, Thunderbolt. It's all these different things in this one port. So USB-C is typically a bit more complicated, and we can go over that in some other videos. But if you have one of these older A1278 or A1286 or A1297 designs, they're all fairly the same thing. Now, you can have times where it's a bit more of a difficult issue, where let's say it's not a USB power issue. You could have a time, there's a couple of other things that could go on. One of them is the filter goes bad. The filter is what's going to get rid of the noise in the line on the data part of it. You could have, this, by the way, you're not going to be testing with a multimeter. A multimeter is not smart enough to be able to tell what's going on here. Even if this filter has continuity and measures properly with, a boring-ass 1 volt of DC, it may not work right with a high-speed USB 3 signal. So the only way to really test that, at least in the low end of workshops that we have for us plebs with basic tools, is by replacing it, which is fine because it's like a 10 to 20 cent component. You also have times where the SMC debug mux is bad. Again, the debug mux is going to be what allows the USB port to speak with the PCH, the platform controller hub, which is like what you would consider to be a Northbridge or a Southbridge in the older machines on here. And if that's not working, then the USB signal is either going to go to the SMC, which is useless, or even worse, it's just going to go straight to ground. And the last thing that you could have is the USB you could have an issue with the USB port controller. So on the older machines, it wouldn't go straight to an MCP or a platform controller hub. It would go to a USB control chip, which would control multiple ports. So let's say USB 1, USB 2, or Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and other things, because the Bluetooth signal typically winds up being brought to the machine as a USB signal. So your Bluetooth card typically outputs as USB, and that's how. So that can be bad. So let's say that Bluetooth and the USB port is not working. You can typically narrow that down if you have two failures to the USB hub chip that is then going to communicate with the PCH. Or you could have the actual PCH is bad, which again, it sucks. 7-year-old chip, new on eBay. Like, no, it's not never new on eBay. So that's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. Now for the food. This video is brought to you by our sponsors at store.rossmangroup.com. Thank you for supporting our sponsors that help keep us in business. On store.rossmangroup.com, you can find chips, supplies, ultrasonics, flux, soldering stations, and more. With 4.9 stars on Shopper Approved, same-day shipping from New York City, and free continental shipping over $30, you can't lose. We even offer free support, unless you're a Please Bro, live chat, and are adding new products every day. If you buy today, we'll throw in a special offer that your order will actually go through properly. What are you waiting for? Go to store.rossmangroup.com to get yourself some authentic Amtech flux. Don't delay. Buy today.